Hey, everybody, and all my UFO people out there. Welcome to part 2 of UFO.minds, the brand new episode. So, what we're going to be talking about in this episode is how we all don't acknowledge the fact that thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, they were basically teaching people in schools that you have the capability with certain technology by aliens and higher beings to be able to build pyramids, to build Stonehenge, to build all of these major things. Now, yes, they used to have schools where they were teaching people how to use this technology. Um, that's how they were building pyramids. That's how they were building all of this. And I feel like we've really lost the capability of using this ancient technology to be able to lift bricks. And I'm sorry, but I just don't believe that regular people, average Joes, can set and lift 100-pound bricks and stack them on top of one another. That just makes no sense whatsoever. I believe that we were visited thousands upon thousands of years ago. We basically traded this technology for other things that these alien species needed, such as gold, spices, general information about the human being population. And if you look at some of the rulers and some of the gods that some of these people had in their tribes, they are not human beings. They look similar to birds, animals. You know, I mean, there were gods that had 8 arms, for example. And there were giant 8-foot tall human beings that were giants. There were ant people. There were, species of aliens who were coming here for the purpose of, well, let's just say, trying to mine gold and things like that for their own species to be able to survive, basically. And now, I believe fully that we were basically kind of like, well, little pets to them. Like, we were kind of like people that were mining things for them and basically in trading. I feel like if people would have more of an open mind in this situation, and when you look and when you study history, when you go back, you'll realize that all of this just doesn't connect. Something's missing here. Now, there are also famous people who have seen UFOs. We're talking Christopher Columbus, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and the Mormon faith. I mean, Joseph Smith, for God's sakes. Think about that whole story. I believe that he had communications not with God, but UFOs and aliens. Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of people who disagree with me on this, but those are the people who have no open mind, who don't understand that there are 13 planets. And a lot of the alien species come from the 13th planet. Those are the ones who have been visiting us, who are trying to basically figure out what human beings are. And let's talk about the Greys, for example. The Greys have been coming here for millions of years, frankly, if you want my opinion. Basically coming here to kind of investigate Earth and try to figure out what we are all about. I feel like as time went on, they realized that, well, if we get human beings to do our mining for us, then we'll trade, our technology with them, so that they have the power to be able to build, cities, and some of these rulers too, I believe, were not human as well. I believe that some of them were alien species, because some of these rulers were ruling for thousands of years, and that just doesn't make any sense. How can somebody rule for thousands of years? Think about it. Um, I think that we need to have an open mind, and realize that not everybody is gonna realize. We have to just wake up. We have to understand that there are other means of technology that we don't understand. Um, and what's strange is there were flying ships in Hindu stories. There were flying ships in the Bible. There were people in the Bible who said that they saw things in the sky that they couldn't explain. There are paintings, for God's sakes, that have UFOs in the skies that were biblical paintings. So I think that we all need to wake up here and face the facts that we are not alone. We've been visited for over thousands and thousands and thousands upon thousands of years. And we wouldn't have the technology now to be able to have things like Android phones, microwaves, laptops, computers, Bluetooth technology, for God's sakes. Let's think about some of the projects that the military has had going on since the 1940s and stuff like that. Most of that technology was taken from the spacecrafts that crashed in Roswell. I do also believe in the whole theory that they are still an operation base. I think that they're still doing things not obviously on the surface, but I guarantee that they have underground bases. I also believe that a lot of the people who work for the federal government, people who we trust, basically know about these underground programs, and they're funding a lot of this. There is a really interesting documentary, if you guys look it up, and it has Dan Aykroyd in it. And he kind of talks about, his experience and what he believes, because he's seen UFOs in his lifetime too. So my thing is, if celebrities are seeing UFOs and the average people are seeing UFOs, then let's think about it here. Common sense here. Yes, I fully believe that people are seeing something that they can't explain. I also believe that there is a third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension. I believe all of that stuff. I also believe that some people have a history upon, like, let's say, where things happen to a certain family member, when it continues on with generations. I fully believe that. I also think that they're coming here because they're trying to warn us about our future and what could possibly happen unless we wake up and face the facts and do something about it. I feel that we need to come to a solution as far as being controlled. I think that people need to wake up and realize that there are things that can't be explained, and not to just shake our head and look the opposite direction. Now, even in Greek and Roman mythology, they have gods that have, let's say, like spears that have magical powers. Let's look at the Zeus theory. Zeus was a god. Well, what do we consider to be a god? A higher being. Somebody who has so much power that they can control what's going on, whether it's weather, whether it's knowledge about something. And when people were talking about communicating with their ancestors, well, where do we think that the ancestors went? In the sky? Well, think about it. Sky means alien, UFO. If you go outside of Earth, technically that no longer is, part of the theory of being a higher power, because basically you're in a whole solar system, so you can't obviously rule the whole solar system. I mean, this is all things I'm trying to explain to people, is just have an open mind and don't be overwhelmed with things like thought, and how we should think. We should be our own minds. We should have our own thought process. Now, I believe, in my opinion, that there probably is thousands of galaxies that haven't been explored yet. And some scientists who believe that Pluto isn't a planet are just dumbasses, if you want my honest opinion. I mean, how can you say that? That's the whole theory that they're trying to pull on people, is just don't have an open mind. And that there's a dark side of the moon. Yes, there is, because that's where we should have gone to communicate with these aliens that were on the moon. But we decided to go to the light side of the moon instead of the dark side of the moon, which basically did nothing for us. We didn't learn anything. Now, they've proven that there's water on the moon. Well, what do you think happened there? Well, at some point in time, there was some type of an explosion, obviously, that probably killed that alien species off. It could have been hit by a comet or something like that. We don't really know. I think that if people would realize that we're not alone and we need to have common sense with theories instead of just believing everything that everybody tells us. Have your own mind. Look and read research and read books. Read other theories. Now, the Sasquatch theory, there is a book actually recently that was developed. I can't remember the name of the author. I'll have to look it up. But he kind of explains that Bigfoots are not apes. They're not linked to apes. They are a species of alien who was left here during the period of time when the pyramids were being built. Now, they are an alien species. Now, they also have the capability to read human minds. They also have the capability to understand basic feelings. I also believe that we have to have an open mind that maybe some of these things that we call myth and legend actually are in fact. I mean, we've had documentation about Bigfoots and Yetis and Sasquatches, dated back to like the 1700s, possibly before that. My thing is that I've actually had this discussion with several people, and my theory is yes, they are aliens. They were left here to essentially get information from humans to the aliens, and they are here for mining and getting natural resources and general information about animals and things like that for the aliens, so that they basically come here and get the information and get what they want. And I also believe that there are good and bad alien species. I don't think that everyone is evil. I think that some of them are here to help mankind too. I don't believe the theory that they're just all evil and we need to be afraid of them. No, we can learn from these species if we had an open mind. because I believe that things are going to happen in the next 10 or 20 years to where the climate is going to change, and cities that were lost thousands of years ago are going to be found. We're going to get brand new technology and things that we never thought in a million years that we would ever be able to figure out. I think that we are going to find Atlantis. I absolutely believe that in my time we are going to find it, and we're going to figure out what that power that they used to survive on, we're going to figure that out too. So all I have to say is have a wonderful day, everybody, and believe.